Hey, Colby, I just want to let you know that we got two exciting guests that have come on the show. You love it, especially this is the perfect time for it. I want you to meet. Who are you? I'm Sock Puppet. I'm Sock Puppet George Payton. Oh, Sock Puppet George Payton. That's awesome. And we have another guest. We have another guest here in the studio audience or in the studio. Who are you? I'm Sock Puppet Joe Ellis. Well, that's great. Great. Oh, by the way, there are certain things I have to tell you you can't talk about. Yeah, things we can't talk about. Yeah. Number one, this guy doesn't exist. He does not exist. Do not look at him. Oh, John Elway, he doesn't exist. Don't speak his name. You're not allowed. Okay, well, but there's one other thing. What's that? You're not to talk about ownership. Well, wait a minute. This whole show was going to be about ownership. And one other thing. This man does not exist. Do not talk about him. Wait a second. Let me talk to George Payton, somebody that, somebody maybe I could trust a little bit more. Sock Puppet George Payton. Did you hear I signed Glasgow? Yeah, I did. But I got a question about that. Isn't signing Glasgow undermining any head coach that comes in? I have to defer you to my friend over here, Sock Puppet Joe Ellis. Okay, Sock Puppet Joe Ellis. Is signing Glasgow, is that not an undermining of a coach that hasn't even signed yet? You are not allowed to talk about that. This man does not exist. Just tell yourself that man does not exist. Oh, hold on a second. Colby, we got breaking news coming. It's coming in. Yes, breaking news right now. We have to interrupt our broadcast for some breaking news. Okay, this is I have our correspondent at Dove Valley, and he's telling me that the Broncos are signing Jim Harbaugh right now, as we speak. Yes, Jim Harbaugh. Wait a second. More breaking news. The Broncos are now signing Colin Kaepernick. Mark Schlereth, we're on the phone. I got Mark Schlereth here, a trusted source at Dove Valley. A very trusted source at Dove Valley. Very good. And now we'll get back to today's programming. Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, and that was a whole lot of bullshit right there. I realized that it was poorly produced, but it's just to make a point. It seems like the sock puppets are fully bullshit ahead, full speed bullshit ahead. How'd you like my crappy sock puppet presentation?
It was right on the money with how accurate it was and how accurate it is in Dove Valley right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, people. I was saying that this whole show today it really has to be about ownership. That should be the number one thing. Coach, these coaches. Do you get this idea that somebody that doesn't exist up at Dove Valley? He really thinks there's going to be an Aaron Rodgers visit here, signing here with interviewing not one but two Green Bay Packer coaches too. Because if we could just get one of them, what's his face, Aaron Rodgers, he's just going to come right over here because those two people came here. Do you think that's what the idea is?
Yeah, that has been the idea for the past year now. I called bullshit on draft night, and I will continue to call bullshit as this goes on and on into the offseason.
Oh, let me ask you this. Does he exist?
Of course he exists. Look at the Glasgow restructuring contract.
It's all Peyton. You don't understand. It's all me. It's all Peyton. It's all me. Don't look at him. Is that kind of how it? Go ahead.
Who signed Graham Glasgow then?
Oh, George Payton did. George Payton did. He did it. He signs the checks. George Payton signs the John Elway doesn't exist.
Oh, he doesn't exist. Okay.
But let me ask you, does that not? I mean, this is a big deal. This signing Glasgow. I realize idiot fan doesn't get. I get that. They don't get it.
Of course
But
I don't.
if you are a candidate as a coach, and you have the spin doctors at all these other platforms talking about culture, something I based this channel on. I said that we now that's the word, the buzzword, right? New culture. How in the world can a head coach foster new culture when he's not even allowed to decide whether if he wants an offensive lineman or not on this team? He's not even allowed to do that. And did that not put an exclamation point on everything that only this Bronco channel was discussing about what was going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, it put the nail in the coffin on what we've been saying for the past year and a half, going back 5 years, 6 years. This team is a total disgrace. I'm tired of seeing this team. I'm tired of looking at this team. I'm tired of reading the news on this team because the signing of Graham Glasgow or the restructuring of Graham Glasgow is just another evidence to me that whoever they hire as their head coach is just going to be another yes man. And we were talking about this in our last video about leader of men. We heard that exact quote and exact push when Vance Joseph was getting hired. So don't give me this stuff that you people, STR specifically, are saying that this man right here doesn't exist. Yet, how can a so-called president of football operations, because that's who he is, he's the owner, head coach, president of football operations, all the above, whoever we bring in as a head coach, Dan Quinn, Nathaniel Hackett, Gerard Mayo, the list goes on and on and on. It's not going to really matter who we bring in because, number one, we don't have a foundation to build off of. That's just the facts. Number two, our culture is a bottom three culture in the National Football League. I don't care what you say. It's a bottom three culture in the National Football League.
You're giving it that much credit? I think it's.
I think it's. Go ahead. I think it's.
The Jets have a better culture than what we have.
I would disagree on that. Because the Jaguars go through coaches like we do, like they go through quarterbacks. I think that the Texans are down there with us, and I think the Jaguars are down there with us. At least with the Jets, they actually have a foundation, and they're actually sticking to their head coach, which I never thought they would do, and they're actually sticking to that culture over there in New York. It's going to take a while. But, everybody wants Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, if you ever come across this video, please don't come here. And why would you come here? I mean, please. And go ahead.
That's the thing. That's the thing. If somebody's going to have to talk, somebody's going to have a talk with Fangio. Whoever is going to have a talk with Fangio. And because they're interviewing people doesn't mean squat. Sure, I'll go to the Broncos and interview. That makes my value go up just by interviewing with you. It doesn't mean I want to be with you. It makes my value go up. But any coach with two brain cells in their head, well, look who they want this quarterback coach to. I saw that. I thought two things: Aaron Rodgers, of course, but I thought Rick Scangarello too. Yeah. To me, I think they're desperate. Yeah, sure, you can get Hackett to come here and interview, but anybody with two brain cells. All these other teams, right? All these other teams. This team, I don't even think the Texans pull any punches, on their shenanigans. But here, Dove Valley has fooled themselves, is what I think. John Elway, just like the commenter was saying, it's really creepy how John Elway lurks around. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody on the outside, you're not going to have any say. You have to make work with what John Elway gives you. To me, let me just ask you this question. Is that going to work for Andy Reid? Is that going to work for Bill Belichick? Is that going to work for Sean McDermott? Is that or Sean Payton out in New Orleans? Is that going to work for any of the real head coaches that actually get the job done?
No.
They're not going to put up with a John Elway lurking around, right?
And I think Vic Fangio near the end gave up on the idea of doing that. I think he was a real coach. And what did the Broncos do like they have done every other coach and has gone somewhere else to succeed? Just like Fangio will. And all this stuff about Fangio hasn't had a great defense in years is total bull
Well,
loney.
it doesn't matter what the Broncos, what people here say. That means nothing. He's going to go on and he will succeed. That's going to be the bottom line.
I understand that, but let's just hypothetically say Dan Quinn is stupid enough to come here. If he comes here, I'm going to tell you, the audience, and Mahi Huddle and all you STR followers, I'm going to tell you here right now, I have studied Dan Quinn's defense when he was in Atlanta and when he was in Seattle. So you say that, and because I know they're going to do this. If Dan Quinn, I'm just hypothetically speaking here, if he comes here and they say we gave him everything he could to succeed, I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I will put film out myself and put out the player personnel that he had in Atlanta and in Seattle and tell you the differences that he has in Dallas, that he has in Atlanta, that he had in Seattle, than the difference here in Denver.
Denver. Look at that. I was just going to say the same thing. They're not going to look at player personnel. They won't do it.
I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this. You better watch out for what you're wishing for here, because I'm telling you right now, Dan Quinn isn't coming here. Yeah, come on. Why would you come here? Number one, you've seen the dysfunction from this organization from top down. We're going to get into ownership here in a minute, I think. But let's take a step back and realize the situation here. The list of candidates that they have here aren't that impressive. They look all like yes men. All of them look like yes men to me. And that to me tells me, when I'm sitting back and looking at this search, when I'm sitting back and listening to what I have to hear, what stands out to me most importantly is they are trying really, really hard to spew the thing that you said why you started this channel. And number two, leader of men. And all the candidates I have looked into here, they're all young, they're all inexperienced, and they're desperate. I believe that desperate is all hell. And I'm telling you guys, you think you're going to get Dan Quinn, and don't be surprised if you get a Gerard Mayo, because he's a perfect yes man. I've been telling people that. Don't be surprised if we get a Callahan from the Bengals. Don't be. I don't know why he'd leave there, but guys like that are perfect yes men for Elway and the higher ups.
We need more yes men.
Oh, you think that this ownership thing is gonna, you think that we're all happy and joy lucky here about this ownership thing? Give me a break. I mean, this is nightmare. I can't
wait to get into the ownership thing, but I want to first just congratulate Justin Simmons. He made the backup squad for the Pro Bowl. Made the backup squad.
He shouldn't have made a second team All-Pro. That is just pathetic. He should have never made that. He didn't deserve it. There's plenty of better safeties out there that deserved it more than Justin Simmons, in my opinion.
That's why a lot of safeties are yapping it up on our sideline.
Absolutely.
That was political. He's a NFL spokesperson.
He's Elway's spokesperson.
Well, that translates to the NFL. That translates us to the ownership thing. I'm very worried about it.
Me too.
I want you to set the tone here. You sent me an article, and I want you to talk about it the way you saw it, about Bolin's niece, Pat Bolin's niece. And it's very important. Well, that's just Pat Bolin's niece. Well, I think there's sentiment in the Bolin family, and that's why this is relevant. Because the Bolin family has to give a green light to this sale. And on the radio, on sports talk radio, of course, their connection to Dove Valley, they're putting out that this guy that doesn't exist is somehow he didn't want ownership. He didn't want. That's how the Kaiser, they won the Kaiser. Oh, and I'm going to bring up something else about Kaiser too. But that guy that doesn't exist, they're floating out that he wants to be an owner. Oh, no, a guy but he doesn't exist. He doesn't do anything. He's not motivated to work behind the scenes. Are you nuts?
Wow.
So what is the sentiment coming from Pat Bowlen's niece, which is a sentiment in the Bowlen family about how John Elway and the trust have dealt with this team post Pat Bowlen. Yeah, Pat Bowlen. And in these 6 years of John Elway running the show and with the trust, basically, Elway's the guy.
I'm gonna directly correlate it to what Beth Bowenwall said. You guys fucked it up. You guys fucked it up. Congratulations, the man who doesn't exist. Congratulations.
Yeah. And is the niece, is her sentiment like if Elway and those people continue and get some kind of ownership, that this is going to continue, and I believe it too, that this thing's going to even just keep rapidly going down the tubes?
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
What did she say about that? I'm just specifically.
You think it's worse now, and wait until you get Elway. Let's just hypothetically say he gets it in the whatever the group, supposedly. Let's just say they get it. You think it's worse now? Just wait 4 to 5 years from now. Just wait 3 to 5. I would say give it 3 to 5 years. Just wait 3 to 5 years. You think it's bad? You think it's bad now? It's been getting worse for the past 6 years, ladies and gentlemen. And don't give me that crap that we have a foundation and we have a culture in that building. It is a cancer in that building right now, ladies and gentlemen. Don't give me that shit.
It's such a cancer that during the firing of Vic Fangio press conference that this man could not attend. That was beneath him to attend, even though he hired the guy.
Why would you want to work for a guy like that?
That's what I was saying to you. This is why I believe they are worse than the Jets. They are on their way to becoming worse than the Texans. They're on their way to be the number one team to avoid, the number one cancer in the NFL. If that whole John Elway thing comes through, it sounds to me that they floated the niece out there, and she's kind of like telling Elway and those people, there's going to be a strong voice that's going to say no to you people.
I hope
am I right about that?
You're absolutely right.
STR is, think about this just for a second. Think if Roger Staubach, forget Jerry Jones, let's put Roger Staubach in the situation in Dallas that John Elway's in. Everybody loves in Dallas Roger Staubach, the lore, all of that. And let's say that Roger Staubach's buddies are all in the radio and blogging media, all that. It's always, way to go, Roger, way to go, everything, way to go, the signing, way to go, this and that, way to go. What I've been listening to is Sports Talk Radio making a case for John Elway. And they have also been downplaying and also subverting, I would even say, Peyton Manning's group. These are obviously, and I told you, these were going to be two separate groups, did I not?
Yes, you did.
Because Peyton wants anybody with a brain in their head would not want anything John Elway a part of their thing. Their group.
I don't want Peyton a part of this thing either.
Well, I will get to that in a minute, but I'm just saying for now. There'd be two separate groups because Peyton there's no way he's going to get in that group. But I agree with you. I don't want to see a group. What's void of the ownership. Let's even back this up a little further. We need to explain to the audience why it is important to have that the ownership is the number one question.
Okay. How do you want me to explain that?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying that it trumps the coaching by everything. It trumps the coaching because everything's got to come from the owner first, or everything's not going to come from however you want to look at it. Because the owner if it's not Elway, is probably going to take this whole thing, wad it up, and just get jettisoned to the sun. I mean, get it as far away from this organization as they can. That's going to be. Even if I agree, I don't want a group of people arguing and bickering, and I want a single owner that's got an idea and got a clue. But yeah,
this is why I believe in a single owner. And people will probably disagree with me, and that's fine. And I hope people agree with me. Your foundation and culture starts from the top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you have the coach. I don't care if you have the players. I don't care if you have the scouts. I don't care if you have the management. Everything starts and ends with ownership and a single owner, not this John Elway ownership group that's lingering and creeping around Dove Valley, not this Peyton Manning group that I do not want at all. Because good job, Roger Staubach. Good job, Peyton, for that signing. It's going to be the same cycle over and over and over.
Yeah, just a different version of that.
Absolutely.
And we don't want a Jerry Jones either. We're not saying we want a Jerry Jones.
I just want somebody to come out of nowhere that nobody is talking about, and I want a proper owner who can hold people accountable and that can get rid of the cancer that Elway has been put in this organization for the past 6 to 7 years since Boland's died and has been gone.
Yeah, the ownership is the primary question. I love how sock puppet Joe Ellis came out right off the bat. That was the first thing he said. You were not to talk about ownership. And this man doesn't exist. We're gonna float out him as an owner. Wait a minute. When the Kaiser thing went, there's the Kaiser thing. But when the reason Kaiser lost is because John Elway and Pat Boland said he doesn't want to be an owner. He didn't want anything to be. Well, it's well documented that Pat Boland tried to not only give him ownership, he tried to give him double down on it and give him, like, okay, you put in $50 million and I'll put in $1.5 billion, something like that to your ownership kind of thing. Thank God we didn't get him as an owner. Now the Bolands have a chance to say, we've seen what you've done and we don't like what you've done. We've seen what you've done, and we don't like what you've done.
I don't like what they've done.
Well, they get the final say, the Bolands.
Well, you know what? The final say I have is if John Elway is a part of this ownership group and they get full control of this organization, I'm done. I'm done.
I know. That's what I told you, too. I said, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm done.
We know exactly where this organization is going, and we know that these people will never hold the cancer,
the man that doesn't exist,
accountable. This goes all, and you know what's going to happen? They are going to be, and it's going to be pedal to the metal with STR, all of John Elway's buddies in STR, all his lackeys out there. It's going to be Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl 50. So just look at, don't pay attention after it. Just look at all you have to do is look at Super Bowl 50. That's all you have to do. Super Bowl 50. Don't think of anything else. That's what they're going to be pumping. They're not going to be looking at what we've seen after Boland, what Boland brought to Super Bowl 50, what Manning brought to Super Bowl 50, what you said Adam Peters brought to Super Bowl 50, Wade Phillips brought to. No, you are not allowed, again, sock puppet. You're not allowed to look at that.
We could talk about the 6 years, but I'm also talking about the 2 years before Super Bowl 50, the desecration of both lines and the desecration of the talent that Elway started to pump out and give to other teams and said, oh, no, you're not worth that money. I'm going to go get an Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, so exactly. You could even bring it back further. Yeah. I'll bring in Pac-Man Jones. You take this.
I'll bring in Vernon Davis, I'll bring in, all these retread linemen, I'll bring in, all these retread corners and defensive linemen, all these retread linebackers. The list goes on and on and on. But John Elway is the main reason where we're at right now. The John Elway and the trust is the main reason, and the Boland family is the reason why we're here right now, and Pat Boland. I get collective group there because they can't understand, especially Elway. He cannot have anybody strike his ego, because if you do that, you're gone, you're fired, you're traded, you're released. The list goes on and on and on. Man, John Elway is just another example of a guy who was a great player, but when the years the years turned into decades, and as a GM and as a director of player personnel and owner / head coach, it didn't work out. Okay. And it blows my mind that people, especially in these John Elway fan clubs, don't understand why can't you hold this man accountable for the quarterbacks that he's buried, the coaches that he's driven out of here, not stick to himness to a system on both offense and defense. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to go find a defensive identity. You let Fangio gone. He was the only reason why you were in these games to begin with. And Pat Shurmur got all the attention. You get rid of him, but what are we going to do? We're going to go get another Pat Shurmur clone? Is that what you guys want? Another you want to get Eric Bieniemy in here and run the Kansas City Chiefs offense? Like, give me a freaking break with this bullshit. It's just bullshit.
Well, if we could get Aaron Rodgers to sign on to Bieniemy, if we could
here.
I understand that Bieniemy's already had a bad taste from Dove Valley.
Of course he has.
I don't know what that entailed, but that's the word. What's that?
Off-field issues.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
No, it's off-field with Bieniemy.
But anybody just knows that they're going to have to deal with Elway, the guy that doesn't exist. I want to say one thing about the Kaiser thing. I sent you an article. It was more of a national perspective on that than the local that wants to just, do this. Kaiser still could appeal. He could still appeal this ruling, which means it would postpone the ownership. This is something I wanted to make sure I discussed during this, is that, you won't get it anywhere else but here. But he does. Now, I'm not saying he's going to, but he has the right to do that, to appeal. And it's probably hard to win an appeal process, but even if win or lose, he can appeal, which will kick the can further down the road. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And do you see John Elway going anywhere if that can is kicked down the road?
No.
He will only go if a new owner comes in and he knows that he's gone.
Well, I already know that he's not going to go because of the Graham Glasgow restructuring.
Yep.
Like why? Like, why do you give this man such high praise? I don't get it.
Well, this is the thing. This is what I couldn't understand. Those same people in your so-called war room giving them praise also said he's overpaid and he's not that good.
Oh, but don't speak about the man who signed him. Don't do that. Blame George Payton. And what did we say? What did we say on this channel? That George Payton is going to be another scapegoat, and then he'll probably go be a GM somewhere else and have success, hopefully, if he does. But give me a freaking break with this. You think all these 10 great candidates that they're trying, STR's building up, though. Dan Quinn, he is a shoo-in to come here. We've heard this before. He's a shoo-in. He is coming here to Denver. Nathaniel Hackett, he's going to help us get Aaron Rodgers. Just this massive bullshit. Oh, they also are pinning the Dan Quinn signing. We're going to get Russell Wilson. Yeah, Russell Wilson came out to the John Elway fans out there and said, I'm not coming here. Well, I don't want to be
there. Take me on. He said specifically, I'm not on your list. I am not on your list.
Because he knows how toxic this organization is.
Well, it completely annoyed him.
You know what? If we were a proper organization, the coach I would go after is Jim Caldwell. That would be the man, because he's like a John Fox to me. He is a stabilizing force that he is a real leader of men, not this, I'm sure Dan Quinn, if he goes to the proper organization, will do well. But if I had to pick out of all the candidates out there and we were a proper organization, Jim Caldwell would be my top choice. Yeah, I don't know why give this man a chance. But I understand that it's not about coaching. But if we had a proper owner and a proper organization, I would go after Jim Caldwell personally.
Well, I think that they need to sign Jim Harbaugh on the contingency that they'll bring in Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah, because he was so enslaved in the NFL.
Colin Kaepernick, man, I'm telling you, Colin Kaepernick, man. if he sides with the Denver Broncos, Colin Kaepernick, and I'm telling you, man, we're going to be playoff. We're guaranteed in the play right there. Colin Kaepernick, man.
Did you watch his play decline after Harbaugh left?
Well, it's not just that. This is what this
good to begin with.
Let me just say this. I could have cared less if Colin Kaepernick stood on his head during the national anthem. Wow. I don't give a rat's ass if he stands on his head. That's me. I don't care.
What?
But okay, hold on. This is what I see with Colin Kaepernick. A guy that is like Jay Cutler. He doesn't want to listen to his coaching, doesn't want to do that hard work. He's fixed in doing it his way. Didn't want to listen to him, ran his coaches off basically before everything went. All this, he's enslaved by the NFL. Before all this, the guy whines, about this, whines about that. I'm telling you, the NFL could care less if he stood on his head at the national anthem. If he played like Tom Brady, if he actually played, if he was really a superstar, a real one, they wouldn't care about that. They'd want him in, but he sucks. But I guarantee you, if we sign Colin Kaepernick, I just bring it up because the Broncos are just absurd. I mean, it's an absurd conversation, but on an absurd team like the Denver Broncos, you would hear everybody just talking, Colin Kaepernick. Oh my God, am I wrong about that?
You're not wrong.
No, they would say instantly we're a playoff team. I guarantee you, they'd say instantly we're a playoff team.
Well, you know what? Colin Kaepernick can kiss my ass because, no offense, you not standing the flag to me is very disrespectful to the men and women that have fought for this country. That's me personally, but I'm not going to get into that. That's a different subject for another day. But, all this talk about, we're going to bring in Kirk Cousins. This is another example that I have to bring up here. Who was the first people that we were going to bring in Kirk Cousins? This man right
here. Yeah, what channel brought you Kirk Cousins before the Viking channel?
Specifically, but I also wanted to bring up who said Mike Zimmer. I want people to keep that name in mind because they are saying that he could be the defensive coordinator for the Broncos. I told you, brought up that man. It's like reading war. It's like me and you reading War and Peace about this organization from Sunday, Sunday to the next Sunday. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow. Mike Zimmer is your defensive coordinator, and then they're going to run him out of town. Oh, let's bring in let's bring in a Joe Woods. It wasn't Mike Zimmer. It wasn't Wade Phillips. It was all his protege, Joe Woods. Good Lord.
Yeah, this whole thing's going down. Yeah, the ownership is absolutely the number one.
And they are their next Kyle Shanahan, by the way.
They're
trying to find their next Rich Scangarillo. They're trying to find their next Kyle Shanahan on offense. Why would you come here? Why?
Well, if you can get Aaron Rodgers, quarterback coach,
here,
I guarantee you, Aaron Rodgers will be on his knees. Please sign me up. You have that one guy. Everybody knows, and even STR had to admit it, that Aaron Rodgers goes to the beat of his own drum. Now, here's the thing, too. I think that the KOA Bronco media people, that's, they're more delusional at 104, but I think they've pretty much thrown in the towel on Russell Wilson, the people there. Elway, I think, is still delusional.
The man that doesn't.
The GM, president of operations, okay, player personnel, okay, the number one guy with player personnel, okay. I think he's still delusional. I think he still, in his little mind, thinks they're going to get Aaron Rodgers. And that's why they're really, really putting out their feelers into Green Bay. I mean, why not?
That's why.
Why not the Titans? Why not the Bengals? Why not? I guess they did get one guy with the Bengals, right? Trying to think of why not New Orleans? Why not, just.
Why not the Colts?
Why not the Colts getting their tentacle? Yeah, but it seems they're really going on the Packers, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah, and another thing. Oh yeah, it Graham Glasgow. The reason why they restructured Graham Glasgow's deal is because they're trying to get Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers would not go behind that offensive line nor this culture to begin with.
Well, I don't think that he wants to be getting into it with Elway.
Oh, Peyton Manning doesn't want to get it into Elway because that's why he has his own separate group on the other side.
Remember how they tried to say that those two would be together?
Who said that first?
There's no way Peyton's going to team up with Elway.
You don't exist.
Well, that obviously shows you, I think, a microcosm of something bigger that I don't think there's a lot of people that. I think the whole Elway thing and Elway being behind onion layers, Elway creeping around, Elway looking in his binoculars, Elway coming out of the tunnel with George Payton, like a little puppy dog with a leash, behind. I think everybody else sees that. I realize that, these, whatever these fans want to call themselves, they don't see that. But everybody else sees it.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, oh, wow, we got these. I mean, STR is just pushing these 10 candidates that are just up-and-comers, these up-and-coming leaders of men.
What was the number one tweet that came their way that they aired it? I just had a laugh. They're as exciting as a Shermer 3 and out, right?
Yep.
This list is exciting as a Pat Shermer 3 and out.
What does this list tell you?
Tells me 3 and out. I agree with whoever did that. It's a 3 and out.
Pretty much, I agree.
They said it all right there.
3 and out.
3 and out. I'll have to. I'm gonna going back to ownership. I'm gonna have to go link that article you sent me.
Okay.
With the needs.
Okay.
But fans are just going to have to realize that ownership is the primary question here.
That's
nothing else. Nothing else matters.
Yep, I agree. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at this head coaching search because it's not going to really matter who we hire because they can't have the freedom to get rid of Graham Glasgow. So and by the way, I wouldn't be shocked if they just put him over Quinn Miners, who actually did good this year.
Yeah, it's
just play that dude.
Well, yeah, no, that's what were we saying in our last video? We said that certain players you can't touch. You can't touch certain players, but you can screw with other players. Or get rid of them, and that's what you're going to see. I cannot. I'm just going to be very interested to see the exodus out of here by players.
Oh, I hope there's a big exodus of players out of this team. I really hope there is. I hope people are going and say, I want to trade out of here. I want release. I doubt it. Which free agent in their right mind will want to come here? Unless you overpay for him. And which we've done with Gordon, Glasgow, Ron Leary, Menelik Watson, Donald Stevenson, Adam Pac-Man Jones, Domata Pecco. Just all these just overpays, man.
And underachievers.
Yeah, AJ Boye.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah. So what was the deal with Glasgow? What was Glasgow's deal?
They just restructured his contract, I guess, so I guess what it is it lowers his cap hit, but if he plays a certain amount of games, he gets that money back.
Okay, so well, here's the thing too. Again, that should have been a head coach's call.
Well, that should have been an organizational call.
Well, what I'm saying is that the head coach should come in and say, cut him.
Well, you know what? I think that should have been a GM/head coaching call. They should be working in tandem to do that. Be like head coach.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that. Like you have Sean McDermott in Buffalo with that GM. Like, hey, I want these players. Can you try and get them? If not, we can try and find another way to get players that fit my system. Just I wish we had.
I think you hit the nail on it. That's what I'm getting about undermining a head coach before he gets there.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so I just wanted us to define this, because people are going to say, well, he was still under contract. Well, still, the head coach can get rid of him. If he wants to, the head coach could get rid of him. You're not. That's the culture. There was an interview. It was on Cody Rourke on show, and it had a Bronco player, and he said, "What's going on is you got players that are privileged versus players that are doing really good, but as far as the front office is concerned, they could care less about them."
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I think that's what the niece, when she was saying somebody that cares, when she means cares, like instead of John Elway, who only cares about his ego is what's the most important thing. And the whatever comes out for the team, whatever is the product of that ego, as far as how it reflects on the team, that's what she's saying is the problem. When we say caring.
Yeah, he had a shot. The Cody Rourke, the guy that he interviewed, brought up a great example about Billy Turner. A lot of people don't remember Billy Turner. I thought Billy Turner was a really damn good player. He wasn't a great player, but he was a good, solid, foundational player to be a bridge to help groom a young player. And what did Elway do? Let's go overpay and give the buttload of money to Juwan James and get rid of Billy Turner, who is starting on Green Bay's offensive line right now. That's what we did.
And you mentioned this. This is what you mentioned. You mentioned these kind of deals predate the Super Bowl 50.
Absolutely.
Predate Super Bowl 50. And it was the decline of the offense with Pat Bowl. At the end of Pat Bowl.
Yes, this predates Super Bowl 50 when we went out and tried everything to get Evan Mathis. Evan Mathis was a good player, but he was on the back end of his career. You went and, you got Vernon Davis, which made no sense. You went and got Gary Kubiak. I get it. He's your buddy, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. I understand that. But Peyton Manning didn't fit his fucking system. He didn't fit the West Coast zone run rollout scheme. Peyton Manning did a lot of pistol formations, a lot of gun formations, air raid offense. That's what he did. That's why that offensive line with Ryan Clady, Zane Beatles, Dan Copen, Luis Vasquez, and Orlando Franklin. That's why that offense, Chris Cooper, that's why guys like that built a great foundation on that offensive line. And you had guys, no Sean Marino. I don't know why we didn't bring him back. No Sean Marino was a damn good player when healthy. I would have brought him back. That was just got rid of a good player.
Well, you remember that offensive line was the people of the Josh McDaniels era, and they knew how to put an offensive line together for all their faults, and they had plenty of them. They did know one thing, and they were good at it, and they understood, and they got those offensive linemen quick.
And who was a part of that front office? Adam Peters.
Yes. So it was Elway's job to really start taking all that over, and it cost him and Gary Kubiak their relationship.
If I was a billionaire and I owned an NFL franchise, I'd have Adam Peters as my head coach and go and just be hands off and say, "Hey, how to
GM? You mean GM?"
Yeah, sorry. Adam Peters would be my GM, and then I'd be like, "Hey, I'm hands off. Do what you got to do. I'll handle the stuff behind the scenes. You just do what you got to do." That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And then if stuff gets out of control, I step in and fire them, or I step in and make a change. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, not this meddling that it's.
Yeah, not this. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Glasgow deal.
Or the John Elway being a creep in Dove Valley.
Creeping around, behind the scenes. Well, that's kind of what the guy at the Cody Rourke interview. That's what really he was addressing.
Yeah.
And that's the Broncos, and I think that's what the niece is addressing too. And I think that the talk about it, don't talk about it, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. They come right out and say don't talk about. I mean, that's just where else do you ever see this anywhere?
I've actually thought about it. I really don't want to look at prospects this year, but I'm going to because I love doing it. I saw a couple players for Georgia and Alabama last time. I mean, oh my Lord. Could you imagine having Jordan Davis on your defensive line and Evan Neal as your right tackle?
No, they're not quarterbacks.
Oh, well, I don't give a shit if they're quarterbacks because this quarterback class sucks. So,
Well, the last one wasn't too great either, was it?
No. see Trevor Lawrence this year, ladies and gentlemen? That generational quarterback. That Andrew Luck, that John Elway quarterback. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. Look how that turned out. Mac Jones is better than all those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I wonder who was talking about Mac Jones going to the Patriots long before anybody else did.
Yeah, because he's in a proper system and they know how to develop. They know how to develop players.
It's about player development. It's about the owner hands off about Belichick and him running it the way he knows how to run it. Yeah.
That's why they have more Super Bowl wins and playoff. That's why they have more Super Bowl wins and more Super Bowl appearances than us. Because
regrettably so. But this goes back to really for them. It goes back to Bill Parcells.
Yep, Bill Barr.
Again, the owner, hands off. And the guy, I can't stand that owner. He is really creepy.
Oh, of course he is.
That guy is like super creepy.
Yep.
But he's hands off.
He understands.
Yeah, he understands. He's not in there meddling.
He's not an Elway. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of this. He doesn't exist business. And then, by the way, he may be the owner. Well,
oh, yeah, we're just going to sneak him under the rug and he can be an owner.
Yeah. I don't think the Bowlens are really going for that one.
Well, they better not.
At least not the I wonder if Brittany is trying to if you're Brittany, do you team up with Peyton Manning or do you team up with John Elway? I guess you're stuck with John Elway, right?
Can I just have a single owner?
Yeah, I know. That's the big one.
Not
thing too. There's supposed to be an auction process. There is supposed to be an auction process with this.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Yeah. So this is another thing. If there are billionaires out there and they get the door slammed on them, they're going to be like, wait a minute. If I was a billionaire and I'm interested, of course I'd be calling the Broncos up. But if I'm getting the cold shoulder, I would be calling Roger Goodell and saying, I want to know, I'm willing to pay the money. Why I'm being barred? I mean, I'm not even. There's supposed to be an auction, and I'm going to file a lawsuit against the NFL if they just give John Elway or if I'm cut out. Basically, if I'm cut out of this auction process, I'm going to sue the NFL. Click,
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, Brittany Bull and I don't want as owner because she's an empty suit and she won't get it.
Empty suit.
And I just want an owner to come out of nowhere. I don't want a group. I don't want Elway or Peyton leading the charge. I don't want it.
No.
I want Peyton, at least, if I was going to give Peyton Manning a chance, I at least want him to have experience going up the ranks before I give him a chance. And I want to see how he is as a director of player development, director of player personnel, a GM, a scout, going up through the ranks. Not this. Oh, we're just going to skip we're just going to skip the process of you actually being in an organization and developing your skills, and we're just going to put you up there as owner.
I think that's a good point, but I think that's where Pat Bowlen really made his mistake with John Elway.
I agree.
Pat Bowlen should have said you can't even sniff ownership until we see what you're capable of in the capacity of president of operations.
Well,
GM would have got him fired.
Well, KOA and STR is saying after they hired the head coach, supposedly they're going to be naming an owner. Who said that? We did.
Well, and that's what scares me. They said we're doing the ownership transition. Wait a minute. There's supposed to be an auction. There's supposed to be. All we hear is these mysterious 9 other groups or whatever, 6 other, and it's groups. What about individuals? How can we have a list of coaches here you go. How can we have a list of coaches, but we don't have a list of owners?
And also, isn't the 31 other owners supposed to approve this as well?
Yeah, it's got to go through. Again, remember, just like with the Kaiser thing, they're putting the trust spin on everything.
Of course they are.
That doesn't mean a lot of other things could happen.
I hope. Kaiser, please appeal this.
Well, no, but that may just kick the can further down the road. I think what has to happen is a billionaire that is looking at buying the team.
Jeff Bezos.
Well, okay, we'll just say him, just for the sake of conversation. If there is no auction process, anybody who was a potential billionaire who wanted to buy the Denver Broncos has a legitimate argument to make with the NFL. They have a legitimate case against the NFL that they were cut out of what was supposed to be an auctioning process. That's what was supposed to happen. It was supposed to go on to auction. And then, you'd have bidders come in. Fine. Elway's one of them, Peyton Manning, but it's supposed to be an open group of other owners.
The NFL said they don't want group ownership. They said that.
They've said it, but will they follow through? And if I'm Brittany Boland, I would go to the NFL too and say, hey, there's other people that are eligible to buy the team that were cut out of the process. I just don't think it's as cut and dry as, I don't know. If it is, it's a sad day because the process never did follow the way it was supposed to happen.
Of course it didn't.
I mean, Pat Bowlen put a trust together. Elway, I know they're gonna say Elway tried, but then that would go against what they said in court. They said in court that Elway didn't want the team, but they could, I guess, say even though Elway didn't want it, but Pat Bowlen wanted him to have it. But there's nothing in writing about it. There's nothing written that said it said John Elway's going to get the team. So that they can say that, but legally it makes there's nothing to stand on. There's nothing legal. They don't have any legal paper penmanship that says John Elway was ever supposed to own the team. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
There's supposed to be a process. It's supposed to be an auction process. So I think that they are really just being I don't trust them because they're being so quiet about it. And except they're floating out Elway. To me, it sounds like it's just the trust turning itself over into Elway ownership with everything still in place. The trust still in place.
Oh, great.
That's what it seems like to me. That's what they're trying to pull off. But I just find it very interesting. You get sock puppet Ellis. First thing he says is ownership. Okay, the case is done. Supposedly, you won the suit. Why can't you give us a list of potential owners?
Because Elway's in the group is going to be it.
So yes, if this is my contingent here. I think anybody with potential that have the potential to buy the team could sue the NFL over the fact that the guy right now who is in a position to decide what owners, it has a conflict of interest with that process. Does that make sense?
Yep.
By stifling the process, he can cut out competition so he can put himself in, basically, what I'm saying. I think that if we'll say Bezos, just lack of whatever. Say Bezos sues the NFL and says, you didn't give me a chance for that. You have a guy that has a conflict of interest with that process. Nobody at STR will talk about that. Elway is a conflict of interest in the ownership process. As far as the auction goes, getting the word out to potential buyers, Elway has a conflict of interest. That's why they don't want anybody. That's why this guy doesn't even show up you see him all the time, but he doesn't show up at that press conference. I think that's a major point. I think that's a major point that needs to be discussed.
Yep, I agree.
And we don't know. And there's nothing coming out of Dove Valley. We have no clue who is actually interested in buying this team.
No, we don't. We don't have any clue.
The thing is these billionaires have a boatload of their own lawyers, right? They could be looking into this, looking and waiting, legally waiting, so that if that interference happens or whatever, like, hey, we're eligible to buy the team. We got the money to buy it. We're interested. But the trust that was supposed to follow the process didn't follow the process. We're suing the NFL, and we're also taking this ownership of the Broncos to court, saying they're not legitimate because they didn't follow because they have a person in there that was a key person to interrupt any kind of, or to stop or stifle any type of ownership querying. So I think it's the Broncos sale. I think just like Dove Valley, fuck everything up. Those guys fuck everything up. This whole thing may blow up in their face. I'm hoping. If they're trying to pull a fast one, I hope it blows up in their face.
Me too.
I hope Elway is sued. I hope if he tries to become an owner, it's not from Kaiser. It's from a whole bunch of different people who potentially could have bought the team. But they have not allowed. There shouldn't be a transition to ownership. We should see how many people are interested in. First, we need to find out all the buyers, all the potential buyers. We should get that list. We should get that list. We got a little elf back here. What is it? Are you taking a picture?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be wrapping up soon. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So anyway. Okay. Okay, go give that to John Elway. All right.
That was perfect.
So that's my take. So we need to follow ownership. We need to really follow ownership.
Yep, we will.
All right. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to call this Jim Harbaugh signing. Jim Harbaugh / Colin Kaepernick signing. Done deal. Denver Broncos.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because if everybody else gets to bullshit, don't we? We at least get to do one bullshit, right?
One bullshit.
We get one bullshit for the last, 3 years or whatever we've been up and running.
Yep. One bullshit.
Because of these extraordinary circumstances, everything that's going down. So coach, which coach? Quarterback. And it's just insanity. But we have a guy that came online, wrote in the comment section, "Hey man, you guys are right." But I'm not sure if he's a plant or if he's real. I'm not really sure yet.
Well, no shit, we were right.
Yeah, you guys are right. Holy cow!
No shit.
Oh man. All right.
I'll
let you go. We'll see what goes on 1 week from now. But I think we'll just keep researching this.
Ownership.
Yeah, this is I'm about to talk about. They're really just wow. It's stealth. What's going on there? But I think that maybe there's people we haven't even heard of yet, and a lot of things are gonna hit the fan.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
You too.
Right, bye.
Bye.